Hi, Mike from the Fulcrum here. Beautiful fall day. Been planning to do this for a while. I'm going to harvest the elusive river grape. Now the wild grape grows along a lot of areas like this, along the edge of a river. Swamps, hedgerows. And the reason I call it elusive is because, like the human species, it has problems with gender. As you see, the river grape coming up to the leaves right here are definitely male and female. The males tend to grow really abundant vines with no fruit. You see it growing all along here, but you'll find that the males outnumber the females by about 10 to 1. Now the wild grape tend to grow as a canopy on top of everything else, quite often mixing up more than one type of vine, which can sometimes cause problems because there is a poisonous variety of fruit that looks an awful lot like the wild grape. But the big difference is only the wild grape has tendrils like this one here, where it grips on and travels along to the next thing, and then another little rhizome will switch out and entangle and grow from there. If you do happen to find a fruiting female variety of the plant anywhere close to the trail or the road, the berries will be picked pretty clean as soon as they ripen because the birds can see them and get at them. You have to get back in where the bush is a little thicker to find substantial bunches of grapes. So I'd already scouted out some likely areas, and we're going to go in here. You can see the vines growing wild right out of the ground here. Just have to kind of follow them around and see where they come out. These things can grow hundreds of feet. You can see I won't be picking any grapes up there. Let's see if we can find female plant. Ah, here we go. Looks like we hit the mother lode. Time to pick some. And once you found a female bearing vine here, simply just follow it along, see how far it goes, and harvest as you go. As you can see back in here, some pretty good clusters. And it ends right about here. Right next to it, I guess, is her boyfriend. He has nothing growing on at all. Now this is just off one vine. A lot of them I couldn't reach, and even if I could reach them, I'd leave them be. I believe in leaving something for the birds and the animals. Come fall, when all the foliage drops, these berries will dry out a bit, become really sweet, and the birds will be in here eating them up like nobody's business. Pass right through their digestive tract, and the seeds will scatter on the soil, and we'll have new vines next year. I'm going to poke about a bit here in the bottomlands and see if I can find some more grapes. You need quite a few to make jelly because these grapes are quite small and don't have a lot of juice in them. So the more the merrier. Oh, some lovely big clusters up there. Unfortunately, I can't reach them. This area through here is underwater about half of the year, particularly in the spring when we get the flood waters coming through, melting snow. Which is why the grapes love it. Their roots get a good soaking. So far I've only been able to find lonely males. Well, I guess that's it for this area. There's a lot of other areas locally that have lots of wild grape that I've spotted that have tons of fruit, but unfortunately there are areas that were former dump sites that they converted into parks, and no one has any idea what's underneath all that topsoil. They have wells drilled in so they can test the water for PCBs and heavy metals. This area is all pristine. That's what you got to look for. You may find grapes in places you figure, oh, this is great, but always make sure that what you're picking isn't growing on something that's toxic. Grapes are generally pretty good at filtering out toxins from the soil. Very little gets to the fruit, but it's good to be on the safe side. Now, there are some plants of other varieties that you shouldn't eat that look similar to the grapes. But as you can see, the bright red stems on these, and the leaves themselves, very distinctive, with 5 sections on the one stem. This is it's called a Virginia creeper. You see the berry is almost exactly the same color, but the stems are a completely different animal. Quite often you'll find these growing together with the wild grape. I'll have to come back. Looks like the city has left me a good load of firewood here for the fire pit. Make note, come back later. Lots of free stuff in the woods. Well, we made a pretty good haul. Enough to get started on some jam anyway. As you can see there. Time to hop in the car, drop the top, go grab a coffee. A little later on I'll upload a video and I'll turn all this stuff into jam, and maybe even later into vinegar. Warmed up quite a bit wandering around back in the bush picking the berries. Beautiful weather. Cooled off quite a bit last night. You could tell because Cyrus Muttley had curled up and stole most of the quilts. Woke up, it was only about 50 degrees. Anyway, as always, breathe deeply, think clearly, and enjoy the day. This is Mike from the Fulcrum.